So, ladies and gentlemen, the IDF is back in Gaza. The ceasefire is over. Hamas is refusing to release the hostages. And yesterday, there was a very big attack that was planned for today, which was going to be another October 7th style attack. Turns out Hamas wasn't interested in peace, like everybody thought. Wink, wink. They were actually interested in just rearming in order to attack Israel again. Here are the scenes from Gaza after the airstrikes yesterday. This is just a little clip. Just remember, these are the same people that were around the hostages celebrating and trying to mob them on that sick and disgusting days that they were released. And here's a quick just news update from Fox News. Trey Yingst. He is probably one of the best coverages, best reporters when it comes to war and on the ground. Check it out. Hold on. Get it to you in a second. Here we go.
And we start with the Fox News alert. Israel is signaling plans for a broader offensive in Gaza as it continues to hammer Hamas targets.
All right, the fragile ceasefire ending over the terror group's refusal to release the remaining hostages, including American Edon Alexander.
Trey Yingst is live from Israel with the latest. Good morning, Trey.
Hey guys, good morning. Overnight, Israel went back to war against Hamas, launching dozens of airstrikes throughout the Gaza Strip. Massive explosions rocked major population centers, including Gaza City, Khan Yunis, and Rafah. We know many people were killed, though Fox News cannot independently confirm the exact number. Among the dead are reported to be numerous senior Hamas officials, including Issam al-Da'alis, who was acting as one of the de facto leaders of Hamas. Funerals were held this morning for some of the dead. We know that many are civilians. The question now is if this will continue. National Security Council spokesman Brian Hughes said in a statement, quote, Hamas could have released hostages to extend the ceasefire, but instead chose refusal and war. Hamas declined to accept a previous ceasefire proposal put forward by the Trump administration. And right now, there are indications that Israel could be preparing to enter Gaza on the ground. Evacuation orders were given this morning with the IDF releasing a...
Just a quick break. I've seen videos already of the IDF actually entering Gaza. So it seems that they are going on a full-scale invasion. This is going to be something like they've never seen before, I think, because... think about it. Israel has nothing to lose. We've already lost world support. We've already been labeled genociders, etc. So the idea that Israel should now hold back because of what? Because of world sympathy? We already lost that. Because of trying to not become a pariah state? We already are that. So I don't think that Israel will hold back this time. Here's a little bit more. There's like a minute and a half left where he breaks down, some of the different key components of this, basically resumed war.
Map for Palestinians to leave the entirety of the Gaza border area. Israeli officials quoted in local media today are telling Hamas to release the remaining hostages for the firing to stop. Israel clearly changing their negotiation tactics here. Looking at the situation in both Doha and Cairo, they're trying to put new pressure on Hamas to free the remaining Israelis held inside Gaza. Guys?
What's the sense, Trey, inside the country? They feel as though this is overdue, or is there more angst about the hostages?
So there are two parts to this. This is a little bit of inside baseball, but it's very important here. We just learned last hour that the Jewish Power Party, led by Itamar Ben-Gvir, the country's former national security minister, will be rejoining the government coalition. Now, Israel's Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu has to pass a budget next week, and this is going to allow him to do so. The other thing to look at here is the hostages. There are 59 hostages still being held by Hamas inside Gaza. They were dragged into the Strip against their will on the morning of October 7th, and 24 of them are believed to be alive. And we've spoken with so many of the hostages who were released from Hamas captivity, from Hen Alma Goldstein, from Kfar Aza, to Shani Gorin from the Aroz. To recently, I spoke with Nama Levy, one of those surveillance soldiers who was released during this ceasefire that went into effect due to the pressure from the Trump administration. And they all have something in common. You look into their eyes and see the terror that they experienced being held as hostages. And you think about the 24 living hostages that are still there, including Idan Alexander, an American citizen, and what they must be going through. And so there's a lot of frustration among the families of the hostages about this war resuming. They are concerned that this could lead to them being killed. And they're also concerned that Hamas is not agreeing to any sort of deal that will get them freed from Gaza. And so as we look forward, the hope here is that this will lead to some sort of agreement to stop the war. At the end of the day, the people who are paying the highest price, it is the hostages that remain inside Gaza and the Palestinian civilians who are being killed by the dozens as this war resumes.
Now, Trey,
And actually, on that note, there was a lot of talk yesterday about unconfirmed reports. You had the IDF dropped a bomb, and you had reports 200 dead, 500 dead, 600 dead. What you have to understand is it's not possible to confirm that many deaths in that short period of time. So while it may be 100% true, which I doubt, but while it is possible that that amount of people died, you can't confirm that amount. It's just not, it just doesn't happen. So obviously they just, typed in a DS number, sent it to the Western media, and boom, next thing you know, Israel kills blah, 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 this amount of people. And it's unbelievable how they just repeat Hamas and Palestinian propaganda. Listen, Hamas and Gaza showed their true colors with the hostages. They released the hostages. You had the mob of Gazans literally trying to lynch them, and you had the Hamas trying to hold them back to avoid lynching the hostages. Unfreaking believable. And they effed around a lot of effing around, and now it's time for them to finally find out. I think that whatever you saw before this, whatever you saw, Israel doing before with a lot of the different measures to avoid civilian casualties, I think a lot of those, very sad to say, but I think a lot of those are going to be eliminated because Israel right now understands we really don't have a lot left to lose. We're already painted as the bad guy, regardless of what we do. And maybe, it's time for us to prioritize our own soldiers and our own civilian lives. So that's that. There were 5 members who were killed, 5 leaders eliminated in last night's airstrikes by Israel. So they did get, who they were intending to kill. Hamas leadership, you don't even hear about these names. So it's not necessarily, so relevant to know their names, but understand that Hamas is hurting after tonight. I wouldn't believe 90% of the information coming out of Gaza. So if you hear 1,000 deaths, 500 deaths, 450 deaths, etc., you have people all over Twitter saying, "Oh, this is terrible," blah, blah, blah. It's unconfirmed. It's a bunch of people just writing, blah, blah, blah. They have no idea, what's actually going on the ground. And I think the IDF will go full scale. I think it's going to be 10 times harder than it was beforehand. For more, subscribe to the channel. If you want to help us make more of these videos, you can go to buymeacoffee.com/JewishUncensored. And again, hopefully this war will be over. But until Hamas is gone, everything that we've done so far becomes almost a waste. Like all the blood that was spilled becomes in vain if you don't actually accomplish something with this. So it's a necessary step in order to achieve the goals set out from the beginning. Thank you, and we'll keep you updated.